My name is John Richards. I'm the director of the Miami Culinary Institute here at Miami-Dade College. And welcome to the Institute. Brand new, opened to the public this past April. And we do lots of very, very exciting things. In this theater here, we have a series that's called Culinarium. And this is the programs that we create that are devoted to the public to come in and learn about cooking and watch excellent chefs and wine makers and grape growers and sustainability experts and wellness experts. So stay on our website, check it out. There's something for everyone. Very, very exciting. Chef Daniel Orr, it's a pleasure to meet you today. I've been reading about him since I moved down here from Louisville, Kentucky 2.5 years ago. I went on to a crash course of learning. And who do I need to learn from to understand this incredible area that we have in South Florida? And this is certainly one of the gentlemen that I am learning to love and adore and even ask for an autograph for the school, please.
Yep, I got it done. Here it is.
Oh, on this one? Oh, you're
See,
the man.
if you get an autograph, you also get a nice little drawing. So make sure you get the book.
A great chef knows how to anticipate every need. Without further ado, Chef Daniel Orr.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, my first book came out about 12 years ago, and it was called Real Food. And then I came out with Farm Food, which is my farm-to-table cookbook, and that came out a couple years ago. And now we have Paradise Kitchen. And I wrote this when I was in Anguilla, which is in the British West Indies. And I spent 2 years down there at Cuisinart Resort and Spa. And during that time, the first question I asked my cooks that were there, they had been working with a French chef, and I asked them, what do you guys like to eat? And I asked my waiters, what do you guys like to eat? Because they were having trouble selling the French food that they didn't know anything about. I mean, and I didn't understand why you'd want foie gras in the 105-degree weather. So I went with their cooking. They taught me a lot of the dishes that are in this book that I've just kind of put my spin on. The book is a lot of fun. It's not just a cookbook, but it's kind of a culinary journey and also kind of an awakening for me. It was kind of my version of getting my groove back down there with cooking, because I had been in New York City, been through 9/11, and wanted to get out of New York, and that was the way I did it. Lee Rizzuto, who owns Cuisinart Brand, had me go down there and run his resort for 2 years and kind of bring it up to date and revitalize the cuisine. Today we're going to do a couple really fun recipes, and I wanted to choose recipes that we did today that would be fun for you, things that were not going to overwhelm you. They're not overly complicated, but they're extremely delicious. And you guys are going to get to have taste too, so I don't know if you guys knew that, but you also get taste. The first one that I'm going to do is called a crudo. Now, crudo is Italian for raw. And the Japanese have sashimi and sushi. The Italians do crudos. Latin Americans do ceviches, and this is kind of a crudo because I'm not going to marinate it very long. If you're going to do a ceviche, you would actually let the citrus juices cook the fish by the acid inside them. But we have this lovely sushi grade tuna, and so we don't want that nice red color to become white by the acid cooking it. I'll show you a picture in the cookbook of what the dish looks like. And you can see here that down in the Caribbean we had wonderful banana leaves that we could use, but you could go out in your garden or pick some lemon leaves or something like that to use to decorate it, and we served it on a bowl of ice. All right, so I'm going to get started with making the marinade. One of the things that we need to do is to crack the coconut.
Before you get started.
All right. Hey, long time no see. How are you doing? I'm doing great.
Pardon me for being late. I was supposed to introduce him, but I was running around at the book fair. And I just want to say, amazing books, great teacher. I've had his books for years, and I think you're going to have a heck of a class here with a really wonderful teacher. And I'm going to go back, get ready for Tuyo, a little place on top of this building that we started recently.
All right.
But Daniel, thank you.
Well, thanks for coming down, Norman.
Glad
All right.
to be here.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we're going to get started by getting the coconut water out of the coconut. And this can be very difficult if you don't know how to do it. The lucky thing is that a lot of grocery stores these days have them pre-cut with a saw, and they just kind of go around 3/4 of the way, and you can just whack it. But we'll see if I have luck today, and we'll see if this Wolfgang Puck cleaver does a good job for me. So if not, I'll blame him for this. All right, so what you want to do is just to go around kind of the equator of the coconut, and you're cracking it, and here comes our water. All right, and then we're going to be able just to open up the coconut like that. All right. Another way that a lot of people do it is you just take it and you smash it on the cement floor, and that will open it up as well. All right, so then what we want to do is just kind of strain this juice off. Get a little bowl. Here we go. Because there will always be a little bit of coconut shell in it. And coconut juice is great. If you ever go down to a place like Key West and maybe you've had a little too much to drink, the best thing you can have in the morning is some coconut water. And it has a lot of electrolytes in it, and it's really, really healthy drink for you. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this and add it to our marinade. So we've got coconut water. And then we're going to add all the ingredients except for the acids. Now remember I said that we didn't want to add the lemon and lime juice and the vinegar until the very end because we don't want to cook the seafood. So what we have is we've got some chili peppers, and that really depends on how hot you like it, what type of pepper you use. If you really want to make it spicy, you could do a bird pepper, like a Thai bird pepper, or some habanero. If you like it milder, you could do something like a jalapeno. Remember, whenever you're using peppers, if you don't like the heat but you like the flavor, you don't want to use the seeds or the white membranes. So you can just cut them in half, scoop out the seeds and the white membrane with a spoon, and you'll get that nice pepper flavor without as much heat. All right? We're also going to add some fresh mint. We've got some tarragon. We've got some honey. And I like to have the honey because it adds a certain sweetness to it. And it also enrobes the fish with that kind of glaze, and that will also keep a really nice color on it. Okay, we have some Thai fish sauce. Okay, and I'm going to mince up some lemon zest. Okay, and lemon zest, again, a lot of people don't think of using the zest, but the zest will give you that kind of pungent lemon flavor from the oil and the zest, and it won't have the acid in it. So we can go ahead and add these ingredients to the tuna, which we have here. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And a little bit of olive oil. And then what other fresh herbs you have around? If you have some Thai basil, that would be good in there, some cilantro or coriander. So just pretty much anything that you like. And what I always do is I leave my herbs fairly roughly chopped. A lot of people spend a lot of time really chopping herbs fine, but then I think they just kind of dissolve in the dish, and it doesn't make the dish as exciting. What I always want to do is to make each dish kind of a voyage of flavor. So one bite might have a nice big chunk of Thai basil, another one might have some mint, another one some cilantro. So every bite will taste a little different. So that's what I'm really kind of going for. We're just going to toss this together. And if you're doing this for a group at your house, you can do this up to 24 hours in advance and have it like this. All right, keep it in the fridge. You could even put it in a Ziploc baggie, keep it on ice in the fridge, and you'll have it all ready for you. And then all you need to do when your friends are over there is add your lemon juice and your lime juice and your white balsamic vinegar. Has everyone had white balsamic vinegar? A lot of people have had the dark purple one, but if you want to have that kind of sweet vinegar flavor without adding that color, because that would kind of turn it muddy and dark, then you can use the white balsamic, and it's really, really tasty. All right, so we've got our coconut, And we're going to put our tuna right inside. Okay, we're going to put a little toasted coconut on top. Okay, and then we've got some nice chives that we can decorate it with. And I found in the restaurant, anytime you can add some height to your dish, when people walk through, when the waiters walk through on a tray, people will see that and they'll say, oh, what is that thing over there? Whereas if it's just a flat thing, they won't be able to see it. So if you really want to add some drama, or if you're in the business, always try to add some height to your plates. And that is our tuna crudo. All right? A lot of times people will want to know if they can't find good tuna, or how do you buy good fish. Fish should always smell sweetly of the sea. So that's one of the things that you're always looking for is the aroma. I always like to go to fishmongers that sell whole fish, and the fish you want to look it in the eye, and they should be nice and crystally and looking fresh out of the sea. And another thing you want to do is to smell it. Again, it should smell sweetly of the sea. And look at the gills. The gills should be bright red. And if your fishmonger doesn't want to show you the fish, then you probably don't want to buy the fish from him anyhow. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I'm just going to move this over and we'll get started on our second dish of the day. And this is another fun okay, I didn't finish up with that. If you don't have the tuna, you could also use snapper, or you could use wahoo or opa. So there's lots of different fish, but the main thing is that it's sushi or sashimi quality, really, really fresh, and you can pretty much do any fish that way. The ones you want to stay away from are any that have kind of a strong muscular build, kind of like that has a lot of the white membranes in it. You probably want to stay from that because that's going to be tougher to eat. All right, so next dish are going to be some turkey burgers. All right, and this is another great Caribbean-style dish that we served at the resort. And a lot of people think of crab cakes, but we're going to make these a little different because we're not going to add any breadcrumbs to them. All right, and we're not going to have those binders. What we're going to do is we're actually going to make a fish mousse. Does everybody know what a fish mousse is? A fish mousse is where you incorporate usually cream. I'm going to use mascarpone. And you kind of make a light, airy paste out of the fish instead of using the mayonnaise and breadcrumbs and all that kind of stuff. So today what we have some nice grouper that they got, but you could use cod, you could use sea scallops. All right, and we're just going to cut this up a little bit. Check to make sure there aren't any bones. I found just a couple bones here, so we want to make sure we don't have any bones in this. Okay, and we're going to cut this up a little bit just to make it easier on the machine. All right, I found another bone. Be very careful about that. Okay, and then we're going to put this in the food processor. And this is one of my favorite brands, the Roboku. They are more expensive, but they'll never break down. You'll have this the rest of your life. Okay, and we're just going to grind this. All right, and now we're going to add our mascarpone. Okay, mascarpone, does everybody know what that is? It's an Italian cream cheese, right? So if you don't have that, you could add some clotted cream, or you could just add a little bit less heavy cream. But the reason I like this is because it's thicker already, so it's not going to water down the fish at all. All right, and to this we're going to add some ginger and some garlic, a little bit of diced chilies, again, whatever your favorite chilies are. Got 2 eggs. Okay, and some curry powder. Again, if you don't like curry, you could leave that out. You could also go online to my website, and I have a spice blend called Mellow Yellow, and that is much, kind of a softer curry. It doesn't have quite as much strength to it, so that's why I call it Mellow Yellow. Okay, we're going to puree this. And that should just look like a nice light mousse. All right, so you can see that, how that looks. Okay, we're going to put this in a bowl. And then we're going to start building those flavors. Now, with the last dish, I told you, the herbs I wanted to keep kind of roughly chopped. Same thing with this. So every bite of this crab burger should taste a little bit different from the last. So it will be a fun journey. You can use these in a lot of different ways. You could serve this kind of as you would a crab cake, but you could do it in little burgers, like little crab sliders, or regular larger burgers, or you could just serve it on top of a salad if you didn't want to have any carbohydrates. You could do that. So we're going to add our garnishes now. We've got some nice minced red pepper. And if you don't have, some of these things, there's a lot of fine dicing and everything like that. What I always tell people is if you really want to have the best piece of equipment in the world to help you cut a lot of time out of your kitchen, get yourself a sous chef. All right, and what they'll do is they'll prep everything for you. You have to pay their medical insurance and all that, but it's worth it if you can afford it. Okay, I've got some rough chopped herbs. Going to add some lime zest. Okay, a little bit of lime juice. Now the next step, even though it's a very kind of a small thing, it's an important part. You're going to add just about half of your crab meat, and you can add any remaining juice, and you want to get really nice jumbo crab meat if you can. Okay, and then we're really going to mix this in, and this, we're going to kind of break up some of those lumps, but we really want to incorporate that first part in. And that way your mousse will really develop that nice crab flavor. Okay, and then with the rest of it, you want to very gently fold it in. And that way you're going to keep those, when you bite into it, you're going to keep those nice big lumps of crab meat inside the burgers. Now, if you're just a couple people and you're buying all this ingredients, what you can do is go ahead and make the full recipe and go ahead and cook them, and then you can freeze them once they're cooked. All right, and then if you want to pull them out, you can have them later. So that's probably the best way. If you were to freeze it now, when you tried to cook it, a lot of liquid would come out. So you'd want, if you're going to make them in advance, you want to go ahead and cook them. Okay, we're going to put the stove on. Okay, we'll let that heat up a little bit. It's very important that you always have a hot pan. Okay, otherwise you're going to have things stick a lot more readily. So a hot pan and cold oil. That's a key to keeping things from sticking to your pans. Okay, I'll season this with a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, you don't want to use a whole lot of salt because you already have that kind of saline flavor of the crab. And pepper really to taste. We'll just mix that in. Okay, and this should make 6 really nice size crab burgers. Okay, add our oil, and you can see that it kind of dances when you put it in there. That way you know that your oil's hot. And if you don't have the crab meat, you could also use shrimp, or you could use lobster, any kind of cooked seafood, or you could even make a fish cake with just some poached fish. If you had some leftover poached fish or poached salmon, you could do the same recipe with fish. And it's a great recipe because it doesn't have all that extra breading, so you really taste the crab or whatever fish product that you're using. Okay, and these are pretty hefty sized burgers, so they're really, I think you get a lot out of a pound of crab this way. All right, when you buy the book, you will also get a lot of other cooking tips and gardening tips. In the back of the book, there's even a section on getting yourself ready for a hurricane. So hopefully it never happens to you, but from the resort, I got their checklist of what we did there. And I think it's really kind of interesting, but not just for hurricanes, but for tornadoes or any kind of natural disaster. There's that in there, and there's a lot of fun stories about the ways that the Caribbean people celebrate their holidays and how they spent their time in the islands. And Anguilla is an interesting island because 30 years ago they didn't have electricity on Anguilla, so it's really everything. The big resorts were all done on generators, and the people were still cooking on fires. And there were coal fires and charcoal and that kind of thing, but it was not one of these islands that really had the advantages that a lot of other islands did. People didn't think that it was a real beautiful island because it didn't have any mountains on it. It's a reef island. But it was a place where the Arawak Indians actually went there, and they thought that it was a magical place. So I thought it was a magical place too. It's rated one of the best beach islands in the world. So. Okay, we're going to give these a flip. Nice and brown on the first side, and then we'll turn the temperature down to finish them off. And you want to cook them just until the fish proteins kind of set. You don't want to overcook these, so they're really going to be nice and juicy, and all those flavors will really come out. What I'll do is I will get a plate ready with some dill. Garnish it with a little bit of curry powder. A nice slice of lime. How many of you are from Florida, from the surrounding areas? Most of you? All right, so there's some also really great information on gardening. If you want to garden, I worked with a guy, 2 different farmers there. On Cuisinart, they have a hydroponic farm where they grow their own tomatoes, peppers, lettuces, herbs. Really, really wonderful, and Dr. Howard Resch runs that. And if you want to go to their website, it's a beautiful resort. And then Franklin Brooks was our outdoor gardener who did the arable farm. And so we did a lot of composting because you don't have a way to really get rid of trash on an island unless you really ship it out. So we tried to compost all of our ingredients, compost all of our boxes and all that kind of stuff, and developed an outdoor garden where we grew things like cowpeas, pigeon peas, callaloo, okra, and all those different outdoor Caribbean ingredients, as well as a lot of what they call provisions. And provisions would be the ingredients that you ate every day to kind of fill your stomach up. So things like taro root and plantains and green bananas are all wonderful provisions, and those are kind of the mainstay of the diet. Okay, I'm just going to feel these. And we want them to be nice and firm. Okay, and I would always serve this maybe with a little bit of chili mayonnaise. You can just take some Chinese chili paste and mayonnaise and mix it together. Or you could do a wasabi mayonnaise with some wasabi paste and mayonnaise. And so that is our Caribbean crab burger. All right, and it looks like the The girls are over there with some samples. And I'd love to answer any questions you might have. Yes. The question was, what would be the best way to reheat the crab burger? What I would do is reheat it very slow in a pan with a little bit of butter. And the butter is going to give it a nice moisture to it. Okay, but these are also really good cold because they don't have all that breading in them. They don't have all that. So all you do is you taste that really nice fish flavor. Yes. The question was, would you defrost them before you reheat them? And yes, you'd put them in the fridge for, overnight, and then you can pull them out and reheat them. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
This program is brought to you by Miami Culinary Institute at Miami-Dade College. For more information about the schools and the culinarium program, please visit www.miamidadeculinary.com or call 305-237-3276.